Hello, FPL managers. Welcome. We are here again with the FPL Optimized podcast. This is episode number 122. I am Bas, the casual manager, and my co host is Sertalp, the data scientist. This is the podcast in which we combine analytics with the good old eye test. Data or grass, or data and grass? That's the question. We went through the international break and now we have to go through the FA Cup weekend. But after that, FPL will be finally back again for the final part of the season. Sertop, how did you survive the past week without FPL?
Actually, I was glad FPL was off last week
Okay,
because I'm very busy at work nowadays. I have a conference upcoming this Monday. I will talk at the Qubits conference on our
okay,
work on quantum optimization. So I was
nice.
very busy with the preparation. So I didn't have time to think about FPL. I think this was maybe the time I think least about FPL ever.
Okay,
So I kind of enjoyed it. But I am also like craving some, points and getting
yeah,
even better green arrows and finally
yeah,
beating you at the head-to-head. So yeah.
yes,
And how did you survive?
yeah. Yeah, you're in a good position. You should keep it up. Yeah, actually, I enjoyed the international break just because the Netherlands did so well.
You did?
And we faced Spain in the quarterfinal of the Nations League, which normally doesn't mean much, the Nations League. But, now since it's the stage of the finals, it got a little bit more interesting. And in general, I would say the Dutch fans had low expectations, me included, but the team surprised us. We had some really good games, the two games, really enjoyable to watch. We drew the first game 2-2, and Spain was actually quite lucky with that because they scored a goal in the 93rd minute, and the Netherlands were just playing really well, home game. And then the second game, we lost on penalties, but
Yeah.
we came back three times to a 3-3 result in regular playing time. So that was really an exciting game, lots of goals. And my kids and me, we were cheering for the team almost like it was a Euro or a World Cup. So it was really, quite intense and lots of fun. But yeah, in the end they lost, but we're quite proud and quite happy with the result. But that's a bit the story of the Netherlands. They play well often, but then they lose. But yeah, we're quite proud, especially quite some young players who played and looked good. But I'm
Okay.
also happy that FPL is back and we can do some planning again because there's a busy season ahead of us. But
Yes.
I suppose we should check our previous scores first, right?
Exactly. We should definitely
Yeah,
do it,
yeah,
boss. We should definitely
okay.
do it. I finished last
Okay.
game week with 67 points, and
Yes.
34 of them came from Bruno, as he was my captain,
Yeah,
and remaining 33 came from other players. So like, but
yeah,
single-handedly, he kind of saved my
yeah,
game
you did.
week and FPL season maybe. Now I'm
Yeah,
at 55k, so which
yeah,
was a pretty good game week overall. And
yeah,
I should also disclose this. So actually, Solver wanted me to sell Salah,
yeah,
but I kind of disagreed with the solver. Like even though like there's like the projected points was kind of there, like selling Salah and bringing in Haaland. So my reasoning was I already have some value tied to Salah. I should
yeah,
only sell him if I'm not planning to buy him back until the end of the season. And
right.
that wasn't the case. I saw that the solver is trying to buy him back at one point,
Hmm.
and I thought, well, my team value is already bad. If I try to do it, I will be certainly behind everyone else. So I should try to
Yeah,
maybe keep him. So yeah, I didn't sell him. I think it worked pretty well because like I wouldn't have captain Bruno otherwise.
no,
So yeah, so I think I was a little bit lucky this game week with my decision, I guess. And
right.
also yeah, well, obviously we had lots of players who blanked, but yeah, I mean, still not
Yeah,
a bad game week from that angle
no,
too. I mean, captaincy essentially saved my
yeah,
game week. But
yeah.
how was it for you?
Not great. Was just above the average with 43 points, but that was a red arrow. I had a few good contributors, especially Marmoush in the City game. think that was the first game of the game week, so quite a good start. I think you actually texted me. You said, "Hey, you had a good start." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's good."
Yeah.
12 points from Marmouche. But yeah, unfortunately, my captain Wood, he blanked, and it was the first time for him to be in my team, so that wasn't a good start. And yeah, I don't know, like nothing really outstanding there. And especially that last game quite killed me with Bruno doing
Yeah.
well. And I think also the free hitters had quite a good score, as a few popular options on free hit did well, like Bruno. And I think some people in free hit, they also went for Dalot from United. He also had a good score. Maybe a few of them went for Strand Larsen in the Wolves game with 2 goals. And I think the Nottingham game also made a big impact to the scores. If you picked the right players, which
Yeah.
in this case were Elanga and Milankovic. I
Hmm.
didn't have them. I had Wood. I did have Gibbs White, who I think he had an assist. So still, 5 points, but yeah, not as much as some of the other players had. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. And yeah, just have to look forward, right?
And in the head-to-head, we are finally tied, like
Yeah,
14 to
yeah,
14,
yeah,
and we have a
yeah.
tie, meaning that, well, if we don't have any other tie until end of the season, we will certainly have a winner. So we won't
Oh,
end with a
that's
tie.
good. That's good. Last year it was me, if I remember well, the winner.
Last year, yes, it was you. Thanks for reminding to everyone.
Yes. So, I can still go for it. Yeah, there's still a lot to play for. We have a few exciting weeks ahead of us, and I think a lot of chips will be played during the next couple of weeks. But before we start talking about chips, let's look a bit at the fixture ticker first. And when we do this, and basically for the rest of the content, let's consider that game week 30 next week will finish on Thursday, and game week 31 will start on Saturday.
Hmm.
So it's really a short window between the two. And I think for that reason, today probably we should look at the 2 game weeks combined,
Yes.
or at least cover both of them.
Hmm.
So with that in mind, let's look at the fixture ticker.
Sure. Um, Again, the usual reminder that some of these projected points already include chance of doubles and blanks for some teams. So, like if you see anything really strange, that's probably the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we have Liverpool at the top with the offense point average of 5.3 for the next 6 game weeks and a defense point average of 4.1. At the second place, we have Arsenal. And Liverpool has 4 game weeks where they have favorable fixtures in game week 30 against Everton this game week, in game week
Mm-hmm.
32 against West Ham, and then in game week 33 against Leicester, and also game week 34 against Tottenham, but only offensively.
Yeah.
Arsenal has the same amount of good fixtures. They also have 4 fixtures that are marked favorable, but theirs are actually closer to the beginning. So they have Fulham this week, Everton the week after, Brentford the week after, and then finally Ipswich in game week 33.
Yeah.
All of these are marked favorably, especially for defense. So their defense point average is
Mm-hmm.
actually higher than Liverpool. It is 4.5,
Yeah.
but slightly lower offense point average than Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
At the third place, we have Manchester City, and they have a really good fixture. They are playing against Leicester at home. Their offense point average for this week, is 5.7. It's the highest across this game week fixtures. Another favorable fixture is in game week 33 against Everton. And then finally in game week 35, at the end of this horizon, they are playing against Wolves, and offensively, that's also marked favorable.
Yeah.
In the fourth place, we have Newcastle. So they have like medium quality fixtures, I should say, but then they are doubling in game week 32.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, I think we will see Newcastle players in the optimal teams for sure. They're double in game week 32 against Manchester United at home and Crystal Palace also at home. And for that, offense point averages around 5.6. So a pretty decent fixture, like game week to target. And in game week 34, they are playing against Ipswich. That's also a favorable fixture. And
Yeah.
then in the fifth place, we have Chelsea. And then
Mm.
we have Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Aston Villa, and Nottingham Forest in this order. Any comments
Okay.
from you, Bas?
Yeah, no, the double game weeks, of course, start to play a role. Um, the FA Cup weekend now will help to decide the final
Mm-hmm.
double and blind game weeks, I believe. So that's something to watch out for. I think currently we just see doubles in game week 32, right?
Yes.
But there will be a few added also in game week 33.
Mm-hmm.
So that's of course something to consider, and I think that's for many people a reason to not wildcard yet in game week 30, but keep the wildcard for game week 31. So that's something to consider. The other thing, Liverpool, just again with the Dutch games in mind that I watched very intensively. Gakpo was really good, so he's back. He's fit. He played
Mm-hmm.
2 times the full game, and he did really well. Scored a good goal in the first game, so I think Gakpo could be a consideration again for Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Arsenal number two, but yeah, maybe we forgot, but Arsenal was struggling with a lot of injuries. We need to remember again all the stuff that happened right before the international break. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Saka might be back, right? I think you saw something about that, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, I think he sent a message to maybe Instagram. I think
Yeah.
the caption says "Hello again" and "Hello again to you, Saka." So like it will be interesting to have him back, obviously. So
Definitely.
and Arsenal has such a good like run now.
Yeah.
So yeah, knowing when he will be fully back is going to be
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes a big difference to the team, of course. Yeah. And then, yeah, third city. So I think the question will remain like, are we going back to Haaland or not? It's quite high budget. So you need to sacrifice somewhere else. We saw in the last game that Mamouche covered it pretty well. So for the moment, I'm good with Mamouche. But of course, yeah, we know what Haaland can do. So still a consideration also for the wild card to see if we should fit in
Mm-hmm.
Haaland or not. Okay, good look at the fixture ticker. I propose that we move on and we look at the best player options for the next game weeks.
Sure. Let's start with goalkeepers again. So at the top of the goalkeeper projected points, we have Raya with 25.3 points for the next 6 game weeks. And then we have Henderson in the second place with 23.6 and Ellison at 23.4. Like for these fixtures again, I should mention that Arsenal has good defensive fixtures. So like between these three goalkeepers, he's the top choice in 4 out of 6 game weeks. This week against Fulham, and then against Everton in 31, and then in game week 33 against Ipswich, and then
Mhm.
finally in game week 35 against Bournemouth.
Okay.
And if we sort goalkeepers by their value, which is projected points divided by their price tag, we have Henderson at the top with 23.6 projected points, and then we have Kepa in the second place with 21.5, but he's pretty cheap. And then we have Raya at the third place. So even though he's a premium goalkeeper, he is the best value. He's the third best value goalkeeper among all the options. And top defender. So Gabriel has been at the top for a long time, and he's
Yeah.
still here with
Yes.
27.2 points for the next 6 game weeks.
Yeah.
In the second place, we have Saliba again, 25.7. And at the third place, we have Guardiol at 24.6. If you look at the value, Burn is actually the top player now. Obviously, they have a confirmed double in game week 32. And
Yeah.
his projected points total is 21.1 for the next 6 game weeks. And he's, I think, 4.4 million, so a pretty good
Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
In the second place, we have another Newcastle defender. We have Livramento and his projected point total is actually a tiny bit higher. It is 21.2, but he's also 0.1 million higher. So they're very close, both in projected points and also price. And then at the third place, we have Munoz of Crystal Palace with 22.9 projected points over next 6 game weeks. Any comment on these?
Well, the premium ones, of course, Arsenal is interesting, as we also saw them at the top of the fixture ticker. And as you mentioned, especially defensively, they have some good games coming up. So Gabriel Saliba, maybe also Timber, I think were worth considering. And of course, in goal, Raya. And then, for the budget ones, let's say, indeed, Newcastle, right? I think many of us, including me, had Hall, but he's, of course, injured. So I think it will be interesting to look at a replacement, either Burn or Livramento, especially with the double coming up. And that's for that reason, I think also that's why Munoz is there. Crystal Palace also has a double, but quite a tough double, City and Newcastle away. But Munoz has been really good in recent game weeks, so I think also definitely worth considering. Yeah. Okay.
And
Good.
I see that you're also wearing a Newcastle jersey
Yeah.
today.
Always difficult to pick a jersey because I don't have all the Premier League jerseys. Otherwise, maybe could have picked one for the upcoming game week. But well, just with the Newcastle doubles in mind, I was thinking, it's good. Newcastle feels good
Yeah.
because we might be triple captaining Isaac, right? So we need to get some confidence in the team.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Okay, let's go to top midfielders. We have Salah at the top, obviously, with 46.5 projected points over the next 6 game weeks. And some of them are pretty high. I mean, this game week, for example, is projected to get 8.0 points against Everton. And then in the second place, we have Palmer with 35.1 projected points over the next 6 game weeks. And at the third place, we have Odegaard, and his projected point total is 28.6 over the next 6 game weeks. So there's a pretty sharp drop in this category, like unlike goalkeepers and defenders. And for Palmer, I should also mention that I think there is some kind of like an uncertainty around whether he will play in game week 30 or not, coming from the international games, because the spread on his projection for this game week is a little bit like higher than other game weeks. So I can see that there's some kind of like disagreement between models. But in total, he's still the second. And if we sort top midfielders by their value, we have Murphy of Newcastle at the top with 27.0 projected points over next 6 game weeks, and he's only 5 million in price, so pretty good value there. And then we have Sar of Crystal Palace at the second place with 28.0, a little bit higher, but his price tag is 5.6 million. And finally, at the third place, we have Enzo of Chelsea with 21.7 projected points, and his price tag is 4.7, enabling lots of combinations, I think.
Yeah, and Palmer is a tough one, right? Because indeed he was injured in the previous game week. So that was actually for me, I ended with 10 players because I didn't have anyone on the bench. And I think it's, at least to my knowledge, not exactly clear if what the issue is or if he will be back. And it's quite some budget, of course, that we have in Palmer. And he also didn't do much in the game weeks before. So I think that could still be a consideration also for the wild card to go without Palmer. On the other hand, as you show it here, I mean, he's still projected as second midfielder in terms of total points. So it still feels a little bit risky because we know what he can do, but we haven't seen it in a while. So might be worth investing somewhere else, especially because we have so many other options. And I think, you mentioned Murphy here, who I think is quite interesting. Gordon is suspended. And Sarr also, of course, an interesting option at the Crystal Palace. because they also have the double game week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Salah for me, indeed, is not really a question. I will keep him in my team, especially if you look at this projection. We know what kind of season Salah has been having. I think the only thing they can win Liverpool this season is the title. So I think rotation risk is not really there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no question for me.
So
Yeah.
are you planning to keep Salah even through the wild card then until the end of the season, I assume?
Definitely in the wild card. The only thing that could change maybe if they win the title a bit early on, and if we see some rotation risk, then of
Okay.
course it could be a reason. But I mean, he's having a kind of a record-breaking year, right? Scoring lots of goals and assists. So I think even if they win the title, probably they will keep him in the team, or well, I would imagine at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
see. Let's see what
That sounds
happens.
good.
They haven't won it yet, and they
Yeah.
might. I guess they might get a little bit stressed as well. They're in a good position, but they lost the I wanted to say the League Cup final, but should say the Carabao Cup. So they lost that one. They're out of the Champions League. So yeah, there's a bit of pressure now on the team. Maybe a bit of doubt. Like we've seen that they can lose, and we know. I mean, we have seen that in the past as well. Somebody who's number one and defending the gap, of course, yeah, you can get stressed about that as well. You need to keep winning. You need to keep the gap. But yeah, they're in a really good position, so I think they will do it. And of course, they will only do it if Salah performs, because they really need Salah for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, let's look
Uh,
at the attackers.
yes. So typically we have Holland at the top of the top forwards list,
Yeah.
but this time we have Isaac with
Okay.
41.1 projected points over the next 6 game weeks. Well,
Good.
obviously the double is has a big impact here. Uh, Isaac's projected point for that game week 32, is 11.5. So that's,
Mm.
I mean, we talked about him being the triple captaincy shot. So I mean, this also shows it. Um, and Haaland is at the second place with 38.9 projected points over next 6 game weeks. And then we have Mateta at the third place with 30.0 projected points over the next 6 game weeks. Again, they have a double in game week 32, even though it is a
Yeah.
tough double. Double is a double.
Double is
Um,
double.
yeah, if we sort players by their value, then we get still Isaac at the top, because, well, he's very cheap compared to the projected points he's bringing. And then we have Vardy at the second place with 23.1 projected points, and he's only 5.3 million right now. And we have Joe Pedro at the third place with 23.7 projected points and 5.6 million price tag. Any
Yeah.
comments on
Good.
these?
No, I mean, it's good to see the high projected points for Isaac in game week 32, because indeed, anyone with a triple captainship left, this is a possibility to use it then. I think with Isaac, I do always feel a little bit of a risk in terms of injuries, because yeah, he is a player who quite regularly gets injured or gets taken off due to injury risk. But yeah, 2 home games for Newcastle in that game week, so probably we'll have to bet on it. But yeah, we still have a few weeks to to decide.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Mateta, good to see. Hopefully he's back. Of course, he had a bad injury. Um, they got kicked in the face by that goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had a few stitches, or for sure he had a few stitches. Hopefully he will be back. I have Wood in my team, but he might be injured, so I might be replacing Wood already after 1 game week with Mateta. It could be one option, because they have a few good games coming up, and also, as you said, they have a double, a tough double. But you said it, a double is a double. So yeah, Mateta definitely back in the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we looked at all the individual players who we should have in mind. Let's now see how this translates into an optimal team.
Um, Optimal wildcard 30 team. we are using FPL review and Mikhail Toklam's transfer algorithm projections. We are kind of mixing the two sources here. And again, my usual warnings. Your team value might be higher. You might have more free transfers or maybe less free transfers. So, and also depending on which fixtures you think will fall. Like if you set those, the binary fixtures, as we call it, so the optimal will certainly change. So this is just to give an idea on, based on like my team value and my available free transfers. And with that, let me talk about the team. We have Raya in the goal, and Henderson is a bench goalkeeper, so they rotate through the horizon, actually until the end of the season. So this is how we are running it now. In defense, we have Gabriel, Saliba, Guardiol, essentially the top three midfield defenders by the projected points. In midfield, we have Kluivert, Semenyo, Eze, Sar. Again, some of the names are obviously coming from the list. And in the forward line, we have Haaland, Isaac, Evan Nilsson, and then I also see Livramento and Gordon in the bench. So this team starts this game week as Haaland as the captain, rolls in game week 31, rolls in game week 32, which means the team has actually 5 players doubling, namely Henderson, Livramento, Eze, Gordon, Sar, and also Isaac. And then in game week 33, it sells Gordon for Bowen. And game week 34 is where the big change happens. So it sells 3 players, including Haaland, to get Salah, but only for game week 34. And then it sells Salah for Mbomo and gets Haaland back. So just even like looking at this, if you have your free hits still, then in game week 34, I think it's the ideal time to use your free hit. But yeah, so this is what the Wildcard 30 team looks like with transfer schedule. Any comments from you?
Yeah, no, looks interesting. Very strong in the defense with 3 Arsenal players, including Raya, and also Guardiola from City. So yeah, lots of budget in the defense. But that's made possible by the interesting options we have in midfield now, right? Like Kluivert, Eze, Sar, Semenyo. They're all quite cheap, so you can save quite some budget there while still keeping enough points potential.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one. Kluivert, by the way, played for the Dutch team 2 games. He did really well. So I think that was good to see, because I think not everyone in the Netherlands follows Bournemouth this season. So I think some were probably surprised by how good Kluivert was doing, but he basically was showing what he's also showing at Bournemouth. So that was good to see. Still in good form. And it's interesting that the model has a lot of trust, or let's say the data has a lot of trust in Evan Nilsson, because he's in the team, and I can also see him. He's always playing except for one game, so that's also a good option.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's if you wildcard in game week 30. Let's see if it looks different if you wildcard in 31.
Yeah, there are some slight changes. If you wildcard in game week 31, you have Raya again as a goalkeeper, but it brings Pop as the bench goalkeeper, and they rotate. And the main appeal is, well, Pop is doubling in game week 32. He also has the Ipswich game in game week 34, which is pretty nice. And so goalkeeper is like that. And then in the defense, we also have almost the same place, Gabriel, Saliba, Livramento, and I also see Guardiol. So like same defenders. Again, Kluivert as a Sar in midfield, but only main difference here is that it has Salah instead of Haaland. So, well, my team value is not enough to fit both of them, but it might be possible if you, I think, go with some of the budget options. And in forward, we have Watkins, Mateta, and Isaac. And in bench, I see Enzo, Guardiola, as I mentioned, and Agbodu. So this team, like the main difference is, in my opinion, at this, in game week 32, it has 6 players doubling. So it has Pop, Livramento, Eze, Sar, Mateta, and Isaac. Um, there are some scheduled transfers, and it finally sells Salah after game week 34 for Mbomo, and then Isaac turns into Haaland. So that, and then this team ends the season with Haaland, I think, until the last game week where it goes for Salah for the last game week. If I like, it's not visible here,
Okay.
unfortunately, but
Yeah.
yeah, so the main difference is this. I mean, Haaland or Salah, if you just, postpone one game week, then you get a slightly different
Hmm.
team. But I mean, if you think about it, but the structure of the team is, a little bit similar. Um,
Hmm.
Besides that premium switch, and since you
Yeah.
have more uh, budget now, you can upgrade some other players too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, indeed. And as we discussed, I mean, for me, I plan to keep Salah anyway. I think
Mm-hmm.
so. Probably my team will be looking a little bit more like this. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Marmoush for me is interesting, but maybe just because I had him and he had a good game week, that now I'm quite positive about him. But that's of course another way to have City in your team and not paying the full price for it. And especially looking a bit further in the horizon, the games that we can see as of game week 35, they look quite attractive from an attacking point of view. Wolves at home, Southampton away, Bournemouth at home. So I think it will be quite good to have a City attacker for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good. So we covered game week 30 and game week 31 wildcard teams. We just wanted to look at the different options because, as we said earlier on, there's really little time between game week 30, the end of it, and the game week 31 deadline. So anyone who will be on a wildcard 31, like I will be, I will just have a few days to decide about it. Are
Yeah.
you also still going for it, Sertalp? Oh,
I think so. As much as I hate to wildcard at the same game week with you, because I just
no.
want I want some
Yeah.
fun, and
Yeah.
I typically also wildcard during international break so that I have plenty of time to think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, I think Game Week 31 is better for my team too. So my plan is to wildcard in Game Week 31, and
Yeah.
as you said, like we will have only a few days, which is
Yeah.
a little bit annoying, but also maybe better from some other angles.
Yeah.
That I don't need to maybe think
Indeed.
too much about it.
Don't think too long about it. Yeah. Sometimes that helps. Okay. Let's look at the final data point, as always, which are the captaincy options.
Yeah, we will cover both Game Week 30 and 31 captaincy options. Starting with Game Week 30, we have Haaland at the top of the charts in the ensemble model, which is the average of all the commercial models we follow. Uh, but there is a little bit of a disagreement on which player is actually the top between the models. Haaland is at the top for only two models, Fantasy Football Fix and FPL Review, and I see Salah at the top option for Hub, Scott, and Mikael Togwam. So, 8.22 his point average, and Salah is at 8.05. So this game week is a little bit close for that reason.
Yeah.
Haaland is playing against Leicester. Salah is playing against Everton. I think on the paper maybe Haaland has a better fixture if I just include my subjectivity here. But yeah, most people obviously have like either Haaland or Salah, so it will be an easy choice from that
Yeah.
angle. But if you have both, then I guess you need to flip a coin.
Yeah.
In the third place, we have Isaac against Brentford, and then Kluivert in the fourth place against Ipswich, and we have Semenyo again against Ipswich at 5.32. We have Guardiola at the sixth place, and finally Odegaard at the seventh.
Yeah.
So these players, I mean Semenyo, Guardiola, Odegaard, their projected points are also pretty close. I don't know if anyone is considering a row captaincy, but yeah, something to keep in mind, I guess.
Yeah, well, I had the armband on Marmouche, but I was more like a placeholder. I don't think I will leave it there, even though it could be a nice differential. But probably I'll switch it to Salah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see Marmoush as the fourth best option in Mikhail Tokmam's model. If you
Yeah,
wanna,
I was indeed searching for it. I think it's the only spot where I can find them.
yeah.
But yeah, well, good home game against Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
He showed what he can do in the previous game. So yeah, why not? And yeah, on the one hand, with my rank, it's maybe worth taking a risk. But yeah, I'm not ready for it. I think probably I'll still play it a bit safe. That's more my style, unfortunately. All right, let's look at game week 31.
Game week 31, we have Salah at the top with 6.77 projected points in the ensemble. But
Hmm.
again, the second place is very close. It is Isaac this time with 6.34. Uh, Salah is playing against Fulham at away, and Isaac is playing against Leicester at away.
Hmm.
So again, it's a little bit tough to maybe differentiate between the two. 0.4 is not that big of a gap. But
No.
Salah is listed as the top option in 4 out of 5 models. Fix, Hub, Scott, and Mikhail Tokvam has Salah as the top option. Only model that doesn't have Salah at the top is FPL Review, and it has Son at the top by this
Well,
morning. And Salah is actually fourth in Review's model. So,
yeah.
but yeah, all of the players are close. So when you take the average, is there.
Okay.
But Isaac is either the second highest or third highest in every model.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's also a captaincy option. We
Yeah.
have Haaland at the third place with 5.69. Um, and we have Palmer at the fourth place, Solanke at the fifth, and Son and Mbomo at sixth and seventh, respectively. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it will be Salah for us. I assume we will keep him, and then captaining him is the most, I
Yeah.
guess, meaningful one.
Or Isaac.
Oh yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Leicester away. Depends on game week 30, I think. If we see a good Newcastle and a good Isaac, I might go for that. But let's see.
Okay, yeah, we will
Let's see.
probably talk about it.
I'm not committing. Let's see.
hmm.
All right. I think you had some more captaincy options for future game weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, just for the next 6 game weeks, I just wanted to talk about the top captains options. I mean, we talked about 30 and 31. In game week 32, we talked about this in previous episodes that Isaac is the highest with 11.46 projected points. And the closest player is Gordon with 8.6. So
Okay.
he's the clear captain choice for game week 32. And again, a triple captain option. In game week 33, we have Salah ahead of Haaland with some margin with 8.3 versus 7.6. And then Salah is again the top option in game week 34 with 8.3, and the closest player is Isaac with 6.8. And in game week 35, we have Haaland as a top option with 6.9, but Salah is at 6.3. So yeah, some of these values again, like some of them are a little bit close, and when the game week gets closer, so the differences can either increase or maybe decrease, depending on where the doubles and blanks fall.
Right.
But yeah, I think just the point of this is to say that it will be depending on which premium you are going with, Haaland or Salah, or like captaining Isaac, like Bas is planning to do on certain game weeks. I think swing will be really big, and people will probably get upset with some of these results. Just
Mhm.
I have been warning this. I think it will, yeah. So if one of the captain's options get lots of points and the other doesn't, people will get upset. But yeah, that's the name
Yeah.
of the game. So
Like
that's how it
last week with
happens.
Bruno.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's what the game is about.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. All right. Yeah. I think, well, we covered a lot of data again for today.
Mm-hmm.
I trust everyone will find it useful to navigate the upcoming game weeks. And personally, as I said, I'm still planning to wildcard in game week 31. And for anyone else who's planning to do that, yeah, keep in mind that you will have to move quite fast as the deadline is very close to the end of game week 30. Okay, I think that's it for today, and we can finish with a look at the mini league if you
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Sure.
All right. So yeah, we still have Abhinav C in number one. Abhinav is having a great season, very stable at the top of our mini league. He didn't have a great game week though, with 45 points. So our number two, who is still the same, also from the week before, Carl Weeks, he managed to make the gap a bit smaller. He had a game week score of 60 points, so that's 15 points he gained on Abhinav, and Carl has a total number of points of 2,100. And on number three, we have a new name. So welcome to the top three, David Hauge, and his team name, very good team name, Hakunya Matata. Hakunya Mateta, I should say. Hakunya Mateta, of course. And also, David had a really good score in the game week of 68 points, and he's now on 2,088 points in total. So he's 12 points behind our number two, Carl. So, yeah, for pretty exciting in the top three. And yeah, keep it up, guys. That's it for today. Yeah, we mentioned it a few times already that the game week 31 deadline is very close to the end of game week 30. So that also means for the podcast that it will be quite difficult to record a new episode. For that reason, we already tried to cover as much as possible today, also for game week 31. Let's see if anything change or if we get new information. Maybe we can still record a new podcast during game week 30. We'll see. So the best thing to do is to subscribe to our podcast so you'll get notified when the next episode is out. And also another great thing to do is you can follow us on social media. For example, on X, for Sertalp, it's at Sertalp Bilal, and for me, it's at Belfi BB. And Sertalp is also on Blue Sky. And as you probably know by now, we also have a website called fploptimize.com, where you also can find a lot of data and analysis which can help you with your decision making.
And before I close the episode, even though we are probably not recording next week, I will, if that happens, I will be sharing the visuals on my
Yeah.
social media accounts as I usually do. And also one more thing that we have the upcoming tool project called Solvio Analytics, so you can also find some information about it in our social media accounts. And with that, until next time, stay curious and stay analytical. Goodbye.